Music matters to everyone gathered in this hall. We all know that, and we acknowledge that fact. But why does music matter to us as a nation, a society, a civilization? And what is the role that each of you in the graduating class, and indeed all of us, must assume when we consider the global conditions today that leave us absolutely numb with their coarseness and cruelty? Less than a month before John F. Kennedy was assassinated in 1963, he had this to say about the arts and artists, and I quote, "The artist, however faithful to his or her personal vision of reality, becomes the last champion of the individual mind and sensibility against an intrusive society and an officious state. The great artist is thus a solitary figure. If sometimes our great artists have been the most critical of our society, it is because of their sensitivity and their concern for justice, which must motivate any true artist and make him or her aware that our nation falls short of its highest potential. I see little of more importance to the future of our country," President Kennedy says, "and our civilization than full recognition of the place of the artist." And he goes on, "If art is to nourish the roots of our culture, society must set the artist free to follow his or her vision wherever it may go. In a democratic society, the highest duty of the writer, the composer, the performer, is to remain true to themselves and let the chips fall where they may. In serving his or her vision of the truth, the artist best serves their nation. And the nation which disdains the mission of art invites the fate, as penned by Robert Frost, of having, quote, nothing to look backward to with pride and nothing to look forward to with hope." End quote of President Kennedy. Indeed, art, and specifically music, may be the best possible hope for conservation of our nation and our planet. Leonard Bernstein put it this way: "Art cannot change events, but it can change people. It can affect people so that they are changed, because people are changed by art, enriched, ennobled, and encouraged. They then act in a way that may affect the course of events by the way they vote, the way they behave, and the way they think." The sensitivity and concern for justice seen in your work at the School of Music is transformative. For example, the engagement of the New Haven community and New Haven Public Schools through the Music in Schools initiative is our abiding commitment to social justice, to education, and to the enrichment of all lives that are intersected by this venture. Those of you who are teaching artists in the Music in Schools program have opened the gates and the doors of our school and our university to young students and families who can now claim their musical birthright. And your talents and personal humility will continue to open the gates and doors for those without access. The National Music in Schools Initiative Symposium that YSM will convene in June will focus on the preparation of music educators and teaching artists to serve in the music ecosystems that support K-12 education throughout the nation. Today, Associate Dean Yaffe and Rachel Glotto are in Washington to join with colleagues from the National Association of Music Merchants in the advocacy of our Declaration on Equity in Music for City Students and the Every Students Succeed Act of 2015, which first mentioned music as an essential component of a well-rounded education. They are speaking to our representatives and urging them to follow through on their commitments to music. You started OutLoud, an organization for LGBTQ musicians, and one that reflects the inclusivity of other students, faculty, and staff who joined them with the commitment to end, to stop forever the disparaging remarks, the bullying, and other vestiges of ignorance the LGBTQ community members have encountered throughout their lives. Each of you is admired and respected, and YSM will always be a welcoming home for you and other LGBTQ students who follow you. Your classmates who established the Black Collective illumined both diversity and inclusivity issues, and with courage, kindness, and much restraint, called on our community to become better educated about unconscious and implicit biases and to understand that being Black in our community is often stressful. The comments you shared with Dr. Lattimore were poignant, helpful, and revealing. Your artistic advocacy and legacy at Yale is proof that music has healing powers. One of our frequent concert patrons told me that she always has less anxiety after attending a concert. Another related how he is comforted at the noon chamber music concerts. His wife died, and he feels her presence in this room because she always loved those programs. A family member whose parent has Alzheimer's disease expressed gratitude for the concerts because her parent remembered the music. You touch and have touched hearts by seeking and revealing truth and understanding in your music and in your compositions. These are but a few instances of your values as an artist who lives and works in a free society. But I implore you, I beg of you, do not take this condition for granted. From the beginning of our republic, education was seen as being fundamental to establishing democracy. Hear the prescient words of Thomas Jefferson, a violinist, an architect, the author of the Declaration of Independence, and then the third president of the United States. And he said, "If a nation expects to be ignorant and free in a state of civilization, it expects what never was and never will be," end quote. Composers and performers alike are truth seekers, people who through understanding, study, and sheer hard work reveal truth in their creation and recreation of the musical arts. But your privileges and responsibilities as an artist and as an educated person also call for you to be cultural leaders. Richard Broadhead, now the President Emeritus of Duke University and formerly the Yale College Dean, spoke of resourceful Odysseus in one of his addresses. You may recall, some of you at least, that Homer calls Odysseus that man skilled in all ways of contending. Broadhead explains that, quote, being resourceful means one is capable of initiative, generating interest and action from within. being mentally and emotionally well-furnished, equipped with knowledge won from wide experience and the ability to use stored understandings to meet new situations. And finally, capable of devising ways and means that embrace situations as challenges to ingenuity rather than immutable dooms, end quote. In essence, the cultural leader is an active contriver of ways to avert the worst and to find opportunities where none are apparent. The dual task of the artist and cultural leader is to make a difference in the daily rituals of life, whether it be in Kansas, Seoul, Nanjing, or London. The generations before your graduating class have, for the most part, joined me and others in not learning from the history of humankind. Our inheritance for you is a world in turmoil, a place where many of our fellow human beings know only suffering. You now must affirm or reaffirm your moral imperative as an artist and as a human being. You must decide if you believe music can elevate us, and if your talent and life can be a lodestar for humanity. No one has the right to decide for you what you must value most highly, or to pass judgment on you for how you see your commitment to your talent and the world around you. That is a conversation between you and your own soul. And as Charles Ives said, I know of no place where it's likely to be lonelier. But I can tell you unequivocally and with absolute confidence that the world needs you. It is gasping for the oxygen that your talent and sense of justice can provide. It is starving for the healing strains your music will bring to old and young alike, to those with dementia and autism, and to those who live with more despair than hope. And the world is desperately seeking a new arrangement of We Are the World, a bridge of understanding that binds humanity together, regardless of color, creed, or station in life. Always be mindful that the language of music is a language of truth and forgiveness. What you have to say is vitally important to our survival, and your music and life give voice to those who have been silenced. We always conclude this time together with a sung blessing to each other, and indeed to the spheres beyond this wall, or these walls, and later we will sing On die Musik. But as you depart from the Yale School of Music, you will note that we do not say goodbye. The tradition of a benediction, like the one we heard in Old Campus this morning, is a sending forth. And it seems especially fitting to send you forth from this place with a revelation of truth by one of our beloved teachers and composers, Martin Bresnik. His setting of Yehuda Amikai's poem, Gods Come and Go, Prayers Remain Forever, is a musical testimony to our shared destiny, and I highly commend the recording to you. Martin's notes carry the words I am about to read to our hearts and minds. Tombstones crumble, words come and go, words are forgotten. The lips that uttered them turn to dust. Tongues die like people. Other tongues come to life. Gods in the sky change. Gods come and go. Prayers remain forever. And the prayers of all who came before us in this place, and all who are here now, go with you for your well-being on this journey and for the joy and hope you will discover because you imparted that same joy and hope in abundance to those touched by your music and your life. prayers remain forever. Thank you.